Hello, this is Sarmad Ghafoor. I just wanted to share with you my current Linnstrument setup, how it evolved to this point, where I'm coming from, and where it's probably going to go from here. So I basically play the guitar, and that's my background. So when I first got the Linnstrument, it was set up something like this. This is a great layout, especially if you're coming from a piano or keyboard background. Even otherwise, it's great. So all the lit pads that you see are basically white keys, and the unlit pads are black keys. So starting from here, this is the accent light, and it shows that this is the root note. Currently, it's set up to C, and that's how it comes by default. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So you can think of it as 8 keyboards laid out in fourths. So by fourths, I mean, if you count from here, C, D, E, F, all the lit notes, you get the perfect fourth interval. So C, D, E, F. And this F is right there, C, D, E, F. So it's set up in fourths, just like the bass guitar or the bottom 4 strings of the guitar. So one problem that I encountered with this setup was that subconsciously I was only playing the lit pads, and I wanted to break away from it. So what I did was I went to global settings, and I selected main here, and I turned off all the notes. And in accent, I made sure that C was selected. So I'm only left with the C notes. This move was quite liberating for me musically, but it introduced another problem. I know where all the C's are, but what about the rest of the notes? So for that, I had to do a bit of memorization, and this is how I approached it, which made it quite easy for me. So I approached it more like a compass. C was the center, the pad above that was north, and the pad below that was south. So on the north, we had F, and south, we had G. So F and G. So north is F, south is G. Now, if we go towards east, which is C sharp, and then you have D. So east was D for me, and west was B, and west was B flat. South, east was G sharp for me, and southeast east was A for me. Then we had northwest, which was E, and northwest, which was E flat. And then we had northeast, which was F sharp, and then it goes back to G. So this was the center. It starts from here, G, G sharp, A, B flat, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, and then you're back to G. So in terms of visualizing, these are the squares that you sort of need to understand. So once I memorized all these notes, it became very intuitive for me. I knew instantly this was an A, this was an E, this was an F, this was a G, this was a D, and so on. When I first bought Linnstrument, I came across this suite of plugins on Roger Lynn's website called Swam instruments. And I was totally blown away when I tried them out. I loved the sound, I loved how realistic they were, but most of all, I loved the expression. I was really enjoying playing the Swam instruments, but I was having trouble getting a decent legato sound. By default, Linnstrument is set up to send pressure as an expression. And so I mapped that to the strings, and this is the kind of sound I got. So if I played, say, a G, and I'd apply pressure on it, so if I wanted to have like a slurred sound, it was almost impossible. So when I pressed the other note, the pressure would sort of reset to that note's pressure. So in order to solve that, I came across this feature in Linnstrument where you can turn the low row into an XYZ sort of pad. So I went to per split settings and I selected low row as XYZ. And if we go into its settings, we can see that the mode is hold X is assigned to 16, Y is assigned to 17, and Z is assigned to 18. So our pressure is CC18 here, and that's what I assigned the Swam instrument to. After setting that up, what I did was I went back to the pressure loudness, and I turned that off. So I could just control that with the lower row. After setting it up this way, I was able to get convincing legato lines. So after I got to this setup, I had 2 extra CC controls in the low row that I could exploit. So what I did was I assigned CC16 to bow pressure and CC17 to bow position. So the X gave me bow pressure, so from flotando all the way to scratchy sound, and on the Y-axis I got ponticello to tasto sound. So a note something like with minimum bow pressure and really close to bridge sounds like this, and as we move away from the bridge, and now if we apply the pressure, all the way to scratchy sound. So it almost sounds like erhu. So once I got to this point, I realized that the Y-axis was way too short for me. It was limiting my expression, but I really liked the sound at the same time. And the X-axis was a little too wide for me. It took quite a bit to reach that point. What I did was I thought of utilizing my Roli block. Now my Roli block is right now set up in the XYZ mode, and it's exactly identical to this. You can think of it as one giant pad, and I have the Z pressure assigned to CC18, the X to bow pressure, and Y to bow position. And this makes it a lot easier for me to get the kind of sound that I want. So with this Roli block in XYZ mode, I'm able to play with a lot more expression and control. So this is my current setup, and I sort of know where I'm gonna go next. Recently I discovered this app for Roli Block. It's called Dynamic Controls, and it lets you design your own control surface. Let me show this to you. This is what it looks like. So what I've done right now is I've assigned an XYZ in the middle, and I have 4 buttons in the corner. And I'm most likely going to assign these to different articulations for different instruments and experiment with those. Right now, since I've just come across this app, I haven't had a lot of time to explore this. Thank you very much for staying till the end. I hope you enjoyed this little presentation. And if you like this content, please like and subscribe so I get encouraged to make more videos for you. Thank you.